why we don't start vetting these Olympians before they actually start to represent us overseas for their patriotism. My friend at the Federalist, Sean Davis, he wrote this not Sean Davis, Sean Fleetwood, he wrote this great article. He said the patriotic thing to do is actually to root against these unpatriotic Olympians because they're going out bashing us. Why should we cheer for them? Why should we want them to win?
Yeah, we don't do patriotism tests on our athletes who compete in the Olympics because we don't live in North Korea or China or well, we're not supposed to live under authoritarian regime. So like the Olympics are about whether you qualify and whether you're competitive. Doing patriotism tests on people is not the type of thing I would want in the country I live in. But Cenk, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. What do you think?
I think that they start these culture wars to distract you and don't fall for it. Later, I'm gonna go on a rant, that'll be fun, about Bad Bunny and Kid Rock and these athletes and what the whole point of this is. And we'll talk about the people who are primarily responsible for starting the culture wars.
So the 2026 Winter Olympics kicked off in Milan. I really wish I were there right now, but nonetheless, it kicked off earlier this month and multiple US athletes have used this international platform, to air some of their discomfort in representing the United States, considering some of what the US government has been involved in recently. For example, Hunter Hess, a freestyle skier from Bend, Oregon, told reporters in a recent press conference, "It brings up mixed emotions to represent the US right now. I think it's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the United States. I think for me, it's more I'm representing my friends and family back home, the people that represented it before me, all the things that I believe are good about the United States. I just think if it aligns with my moral values, I feel like I'm representing it." Okay, so let me just pause for a second. Whenever I talk about how much I love this country, how much I love the United States, I'm specifically talking about what this country's constitution represents, and more importantly, I'm talking about the people of the United States. I think this is the best country. I think we do have the best people. I don't think our government has been, fully representative of the best interests of the people of the United States for a long time, to be quite frank. So I hear what he's saying. He's kind of like equating loving the United States with having to love our government. I don't think you have to love our government. I think our government is supposed to be accountable to us, and they haven't been for a really long time. And so anyway, that's my response to this. But notice I'm not losing my mind about it because ultimately I don't really care what anyone thinks in the Olympics, right? I'm not gonna let it get under my skin, but for whatever reason, conservatives seem to lose their minds over this kind of stuff on a regular basis.
Yeah, so look, first, as always, we're fair. So I remember when sometimes athletes would criticize Obama and people would go nuts.
Who cares?
He can't say that about Obama. Yeah, he can. So what? Well, what difference does it make? And so same thing is true of Trump, etc. During the lead up to the Iraq war and afterwards, were we supposed to say, "Oh yeah, I'm super proud of Dick Cheney and how we started this war for no reason, and now we're torturing people and wiretapping our own citizens"? No, you don't have to be proud of every single thing the US government has done. All governments do terrible things, right? So it's perfectly fine. I mean, look, real quick, I'll just say this, and then later I want to talk about who's starting these conflicts. But okay, so you don't like Bad Bunny's music. By the way, I'm not that into Bad Bunny's music either. But anyway, so what? Kid Rock, he said he's totally for Trump. So what? Why do I care? I don't care at all. And so if they're for or against Trump or whatever, I just can't find a way to care. And I think that the reason people care so much is because there's an entire complex,
cottage industry.
Yeah, a culture war complex.
Yes.
That is trying to get you to hate each other by emphasizing these issues.
I mean, this woman who's talking about, we should test their patriotism before they're allowed to compete in the Olympics. Do you want us to print out a massive photo of Trump and hang it up in our living rooms and then have government censors come and make sure that we have it in our living rooms, that we pray to it every night?
And how do we,
like, what is that?
Hold on. How do we test patriotism? So for example, if I tested Donald Trump said after he lost the election in 2020 that we should terminate the Constitution. That's the least patriotic thing I have ever heard. So that's it, he can't compete. And what else he can't be president? I don't know.
I mean,
who's testing the patriotism and what does it mean to be a patriot?
Is it patriotic to risk the lives of our soldiers in order to fight a war on behalf of a foreign country? Is that patriotism? Just curious.
Yeah, because that's what we're about to do in Iran, brought to you by Israel. I don't want to touch on that in the Olympics in a
I've been
second.
working for this show for, in April, it's gonna be 19 years actually. And 19 years straight of the same recycled BS story. And it comes up every few months. It's like, oh my God, aren't you so mad at these athletes because they have political opinions and they're airing them? No, I'm not upset. In fact, if I don't like their political opinions, I just change the channel and move on with my life.
Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers now. I love the Steelers. I don't care what Aaron Rodgers' opinions are. And I know people get really upset about that. No, you have to hate Aaron Rodgers. Do you know what he said during COVID? I don't care. Throw the goddamn ball, okay? And if he won us a Super Bowl, I'd love him forever. Oh, you can't love him. He's terrible. And by the way, my friends say it. Guys, let it go. It's sports. Meanwhile, by the way, I'll throw this in real quick. Swiss announcer is covering the bobsled. The Israeli team comes in. He explains, this is weird. I don't know why they're allowed to compete under their own flag, because the Russians were banned for competing under their flag because of what Russia did in starting a war and taking political actions. And they're like, well, Israel started a war, and these guys, one of the bobsled guys was deeply political, and in fact, he insulted the Palestinians when he first came in, made fun of Free Palestine, was in favor of a genocide. So he's like, why aren't the rules being applied to him in the way that they were for the Russians? And then he mentioned a French example. You know what they did? The Israelis complained and they removed that segment from on air. Why? Why are the Israelis controlling everyone's media, everyone's government? No, what the guy said was perfectly fair. See, that's an interesting political issue that's about the Olympics, and what you're allowed to say about the Olympics or not, that gets to, if it's not a First Amendment issue because it's international, but the concept of freedom of speech, etc. But okay, what does Rando Bob think? Who cares? But again, Anna, you got more before I get?
No, I don't have more because I'm already annoyed with the story. It's a non-story. Okay, they have political opinions. And I also get the context of it's the Olympics, they're representing the United States, but I would venture to say they're in this international setting with athletes from all around the world. And it doesn't feel good to be an American knowing how much our country at this moment is alienated from the rest of the world because we keep launching wars. We kidnapped the leader of Venezuela so we could take their oil. So they probably feel this pressure to distance themselves from the government because our government, through their foreign policy, has been victimizing various countries. So you get what I'm saying? Yeah. I remember during the Bush era, it was the first time I had ever traveled out of the country. This is in 2007. Everyone in our tour group, mostly Australians and South Africans, were openly hateful toward me and my best friend. I traveled with my best friend. And they kept playing that song, American Idiot by Green Day. It was bad. And obviously I was highly critical of the Bush administration. I felt like I needed to air that so people would stop harassing us. I'm not saying that's what's happening to these athletes, but can we at least acknowledge when our government is acting in a belligerent manner, when they are literally going out of their way to use our military assets to steal natural resources from sovereign countries? It's just not a good look for these athletes who are, again, on the international stage competing against athletes from other countries.
So lastly, I promise you where it comes from. Look, historically, Fox News. So remember Bill O'Reilly started the war on Christmas? He thought that it was hateful to say happy holidays. I mean, that is stretching and stretching and stretching to try to find some sort of thing that's gonna divide us, right? Divide us based on religion, race, etc. And now who's the king of starting the culture wars? Daily Wire. Every single day, Daily Wire's like trans this and black that and hate these people and hate that people. Because why? They don't want you to look up. If you're divided and you think that all of your problems are caused by the person on your left or the person on your right, You'll fight them instead of fighting the donor class and the people who control our government. That's why you get this steady stream of culture wars through the media, so that you're distracted and don't realize who's actually running the country. Random Olympic athletes are not running the country. Random left-wingers or right-wingers are not running the country. The donor classes. Finally, the Israeli bobsled team came in 26th out of 26.
Nice.
And then when people pointed that out, they're like, no, you don't understand our sport. We did great. Okay, in your sport, is it great to come in last? Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.